Good evening, everyone. Welcome Talk with Sona. I am excited today to talk about real estate. In this crazy year with ups and downs, we expected that real estate market is going to be very quiet. But I think it was just perception. So I have a perfect guest to talk about secrets, what to expect, what's going on in the market. So if you're planning to buy, sell, invest, to be even in the industry, are you just curious? I really recommend you to post your questions and share and tag people who are planning to buy their properties. I have a perfect guest to answer all of your questions. I have Ara in the studio. Hi, Ara. How are you?
Hi, Sona. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me tonight. Hopefully, we'll be able to give as much as information possible. So, we have many years of experience in real estate, and hopefully, people will be able to, take benefit of that.
Perfect. I appreciate your time in
Thank you.
investing with us so generously and for everybody that joining us live video. So let's talk. This year was very unexpected. And
Yeah.
yet look at the market. What's going on in the market this year?
Well, this year it's a very different year and very unique year, if we can call it, because it's different than any other. We never had that experience before. And, when it started in March in Canada, and, nobody thought it will be as bad as it is. But right now, market started moving for many reasons. People started to realize that, I think Corona or COVID-19, it will be part of our life and we have to adapt to it. So basically, people already started slowly to adapt to the situation until hopefully they will come up with the vaccine soon. And but I strongly believe everybody's life, it will be completely different after this. But that's good that happened in our lifetime, because I don't think our kids or our grandkids will they will be talking about us as like heroes.
Yeah, we are part of the history. And funny enough, this time was very epic for real estate. Many of realtors going viral and they're doing open houses in a Facebook Live or in a YouTube and getting really creative. What else I noticed is not a betting war. I mean, I don't know if summer will be that way, but it wasn't betting war. Like houses was going off so fast. It was getting sold so fast.
Lately, Sona, properties below $1 million, we see many properties there in a multiple offer situations, and they get sold for more than asking price. The whole business model, it's changed. It's not like before, but now, even though we use all different kind of technology like virtual tours and everything else, but especially second and third time home buyers, they already know what they are getting, and for them, just another transaction. Maybe first time home buyers, they will have a hard time to understand exactly how transaction will be. But overall, especially for the second and third time home buyers, it's just different. But there are too many properties, and like for example, June was much better than May. May was better than April. So it's getting, better and better, and for many reasons. Because, like I said, people, they started to realize that now it's a good time. Properties, people, they were thinking properties may go down like 15, 20, 25%. That did not happen, especially for the properties that they are below $1 million.
Wow. So a couple things from my experience, what I experienced. We all noticed that central bank in one point their interest rate dropped like crazy. I think it
Yeah,
was one
yeah,
point something, and everybody took just advantage of it that and they
exactly.
jumped on it.
Yeah,
But at the same time, the market kind of crashed, so they didn't trust mutual funds or other investments where they trust real estate when it's tangible, they can see it. So many people pulled out their money and
yeah.
started to invest in real estate, but then many people lost their jobs and kind of start selling from the
Yeah.
fear. So
Especially people, a lot of people, they own more than two or three properties. You are absolutely right. But people, for example, if somebody owns one property and he's paying his mortgage, that did not affect him a lot. And to be honest with you, Sona, the safest area to be in always, it's real estate. It's not like anything else, like stock market. It's like you may make a lot of money, you may lose a lot of money, but in real estate, it's the safest area to be in.
what I also noticed, lots of Home Depots and hardware stores running out of the materials because so many people start renovating their homes and their backyards because they have more time or they realize they want to upgrade or invest in their house and they realize was the most biggest
Yeah,
asset
they
of
are improving.
themselves.
Yes, you are absolutely right. Plus, the trading with the Far East, it's not like before. Now, it's not easy to import a lot of materials from, different countries. And I noticed lately, a lot of product, you see them, they're like made in Canada, which is very good for us. Like the small things, like even hand sanitizers, a lot of things you see them made in Canada. With like before, it was very hard to us, even though we live in Canada, it was hard to find something that made in Canada. But now there are different products, and I think they started to use like companies in Canada, which is good for us. Plus, our dollar is not doing very well comparing to the US dollars. If you look at it like a business point of view, I think that's much better because when people basically the rate between the US and Canadian is like 1.35 to 1 to up to 1.4. So a lot of people, they sell their properties back home. When they transfer that money to Canada, they get a lot more. So for them, it's easier to purchase than before, and especially when the rate is a lot higher. A lot of people, they sell their properties back home with US dollars. So when they bring it here, it's makes especially for them to put 20% down, it's a lot easier than before.
That raises question for me.
Sure.
So it's brilliant remark that you just made. So outside trading kind of slowed down
Yes.
and obviously traveling. So we know very well we had international investors from
Yeah.
China and other countries that bring
Yes.
in cash. And we know that there was buying properties and Airbnb was rising the price of the
Yeah.
properties and
Yeah.
rentals.
Yeah.
And now Airbnb stopped, travel stopped, students, international students kind of stopped because they're
Yes.
going to do
Yeah.
online. What can we expect with the market? Because that's a huge, like immigration kind of slow down. My
Definitely.
parents can come, all of those things slow down.
Yeah.
Investors can come, international students can come. Airbnb is going to slow down. What is that going to do?
In
Our investment.
a lot of areas, they heavily got impacted by that, especially areas that close to universities and colleges, like for example in London, Ontario, and Ottawa, a lot of places that they were, they had a lot of students from overseas. Now, even Mississauga, even Toronto. Like the other day, I was checking.
Me or you lost connection. So that's interesting experience that all the students areas are slowing down. So I want
Sorry, I don't know what happened. Yeah. So the area I was talking about, it's called City Center. The other day, I was checking the rental market. Like 277 properties are available for rent. more than 50% of them, they're like Airbnb properties. And, I never seen that vacancy rate before. Yeah, but, I think, Sona, it's a matter of time. The market will come back, especially now, like after COVID-19. Canadian reputation as a country, comparing it to the other countries, I think our government did an excellent job, and everybody is happy now with all this support programs the government is providing. That will make a lot of people to basically to immigrant to come to Canada, and that just to improve their lives. Comparing our country to the other countries, I think Canada is doing much better than most of other countries, and that will make a lot of people to make decisions to basically to come to Canada and have a new life.
I see your point there. I
Yeah.
see that Europe didn't handle it as well. I got that, and population, the age, and everything. So, what would you suggest? I'm kind of a little bit not clear. So, those properties that are close to the school, is it good time to buy because lots of them are vacant and selling, or we should avoid it? Which areas we should avoid? Which areas we should consider?
If they get a good deal, for example, if they can get something below the market value, I think it's a good time to buy, especially closing date will be after 60 or 90 days. And I think by the end of this year, and I think everything else, it will be much better than the situation that we are in now. By then, hopefully, like all the schools, all colleges, universities, they will go back to like a semi-normal. And, I think hopefully by then, like if it's a today's market value, maybe it will not be a good buy, but if you get a good deal, let's say 10 or 15% below market value, especially in the areas that they are close to colleges and universities, I think that will be a good purchase. Like I think it will be a good buy.
So you don't think that a second wave will happen? That's my first question. Second is, should they check from my experience, when I'm buying investment property and I don't know the zoning, usually when people buy for the students, they want to have triplex or divide the house and have different units.
Absolutely.
And the zoning doesn't allow, and then there is a huge problems with the inspection, and people don't really like experiencing, hiring correct designer and knowing the permit and getting permit, not doing all those illegal.
Yeah, when it comes to buy real estate, Sona, I'm very conservative, and usually I go, for example, if my clients, they think they may get $2,500 or $3,000 a month, I always go a little bit lower than that. So I do, because for example, like worst case scenario, if there are no students to rent it, I'll check what is the rent value and rent market for a similar house for a family to move there, not only students. This way, he will know exactly the situation. If there are no students, he can just rent it to like one family and take it from there. But there are areas that they are close to universities. Even whoever will buy that property can rent it out to a family, and after a year or two, when everything goes back to normal, he can have students. But remember, even renting it to students, it's not always a good thing, because most of them, they stay here for 9 months or 10 months. So property will be vacant for 2 months. So buyers, they should consider that before making the final decision.
Sounds like you're such an expert and you go extra mile to do those kind of researches, because you're really clearly looking for zoning, looking comparison rentals, really, and also counting in my opinion, I was thinking I will spend 20,000 renovation, numbers coming out over 100,000, actually being prepared that it may cost more, but the surprises and everything. So it's so
Yeah.
important to have a right realtor who knows an experience and
So
can
what,
research.
yeah, so what I do in situations like that, especially properties that need renovation, when we go for showing, especially now, it's, sometimes you get properties without getting into multiple offer situation. That will give us, like extra, like more time to make the final decision. So, for example, if there's this property that my buyer, my client, they would like to buy it, so we will go to see the property, and then we may do a second visit. In the second visit, they may bring somebody with them, like a contractor, just to give them an idea how much it will cost to do like a small reno or a big renovation. So that at least they will have an idea how much they are going to spend, and like, is it worth it to spend that? Is the house livable or not? There are like a lot of areas that they need to check before basically making the final decision and taking that, like, by purchasing that property.
Wow, taking construction person is really important. And I
Yeah.
think just like a stock market, doing research next 5 years, how's that companies around going to do? If they're going to be Subway around, or
Yeah,
there is like Tesla going to move
absolutely.
in next door,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're
or
absolutely
Casino, or
right.
Orlando, like they say Disneyland going to move next to islands. So in that question, where is your favorite area to buy and why?
When it comes to real estate, Sona, we always say what we call it: location, location, location. So location, it's very important, and depends, like, if there are like good schools around there, and always what will make people to move to that area. But after COVID-19, I think that will change a little bit, because a lot of people will be working from home, and you don't have to live in downtown Toronto or Mississauga, like downtown Mississauga or anywhere. A lot of people, they will be working from home, and that will make the GTA not only downtown, or like prime locations, to be like now. I think when people start working from home, a lot of areas around GTA, prices will be higher than now, because if people will be working from home, then they don't have to commute, to travel from their houses to, like, their homes to their work. So that will make a lot of people to make decisions and buy and purchase properties outside of downtown. So there is no favorite area. Everybody depends, like, where they live, where their friends are, relatives. Based on that, they make decisions. Sometimes people move to a specific area because of this school that their friends going to, or like, all depends on every situation. It's different. Usually it's case by case. What I do, Sona, I do, like, I sit with my clients, I go through a lot of information, and then even I ask them questions. If you want to move to, let's say, Newmarket or Richmond Hill or Oakville, why you want to move there? So at least when we sit and talk, at least we will finalize our search area, and we will know exactly which area to look for. Not just, sometimes, people, they need help, they need realtors' opinion. And that's why realtors, they should ask all these questions, like, for example, why you want to move to that area, and what thing, like, sometimes they may have old information. So when they talk to a realtor, that knows the area, it will make their decision a lot easier. And that's why you need a good realtor to basically to give you all the information before doing anything.
Great, thank you. That's really good point, and I'm glad you're taking time and going extra mile with your clients. And I know you speak so many languages, so newcomers feel so comfortable with you from Middle East and all over the place. And you are Armenian too. It's not like I'm Armenian; it's extra plus, but it is. And
I'm Armenian from Iraq, and that's why I speak different languages. And at the end of the day, we are all human, and like we, like uh, it's good to speak different languages for sure, and that helped me a lot. Dealing with different people and different cultures, and it's good to know as many languages as possible.
I like it because your energy is very calm and you're not making people feel intimidated. They can feel ease to actually ask questions, and you can share your expertise and do all that. So I'm really, applaud you for that.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for going extra mile for your clients. Now I have another question, if you don't mind. What I also noticed from COVID-19, and your point was perfect, people don't have to travel, and I don't think they want to travel because public transit and everything now, it's a big taboo. And what I noticed, lots of people who live in apartments, few of them decided to move like houses with the backyards close to nature, because they even made fun in a Facebook. They say choose the house where you want to be quarantined in, or choose somebody that you want to be quarantined with, because lots of divorces and fights happen or love happen.
But when they make a decision, they should make a decision not based on our situation now. Things will change. Things will get better than now. Now it's the worst time in our lives, like in many people's lives, but it will change for sure. It will get better and better. It's not gonna stay like this forever. And even if we will have COVID-19 as part of our life, we just have to adapt to it. And like life is going on. It's not like nothing should stop people of they're making their dreams, and because everything in life, it's we should set goals and basically try our best to achieve them. So at the end of the day, COVID should not stop people. Yes, for sure, we should be careful, and we should do anything that like government and everybody else, all these authorities telling us to do, like wearing masks and using sanitizers, the washing our hands. But at the end of the day, life should be going on. It's not like we have to think outside of the box, not just COVID-19. A lot of things, of course it changed, but like now, I think it's a time to think about it and to think about COVID-19 as part of our life. And if they find, like a vaccine, at least that, that will be bonus for us. But from now on, that should be part of our life. I think even when it comes to companies and to business in general, our life, it will be different than before, but that's it. We have to deal with it.
I got it. I guess my question was about that. What profile would fit, like, let's say, house with a backyard and nature, and what profile will fit condominium with apartment? Because in one point I really want a condominium because I don't want to shuffle the snow and put garbage out, but now my kids really want pool and backyard, and I want to be more in nature and be a little bit away from that noise. And COVID-19 helped me about it, but I realized I want it.
Well, again, every family situation is different, and there are, like, I have a lot of clients, and basically they live what we call it a condo living. They love to live in a condo, but some people, they love to have a backyard. They don't mind to shovel the snow. Even talking about that, again, it's a personal preference. Everybody's different. Some people, they like to live in the city. Some people, they like to live outside of the city. Everybody's life, it's different. Some people, they can't live in condos. So some other people, they will love to live in a condo. So everybody's different, and that's part of my homework when I meet with my clients and go through all these questions. And I ask them, what thing will make you, why you want to live in a condo, or why you want to have a big backyard? All these questions that will basically narrow down our search, and we will know exactly what the client is looking for. Sometimes they just need, like explanation, and so this that will make them to make the decision, and basically to know exactly what they are looking for. But sometimes it's hard. Like, for example, sometimes I get families, and a husband would like to get a big backyard, and far away neighbors. His wife wants to move in, to downtown Toronto in one of the penthouses. So that will make my job a lot harder, because it's completely different areas to look for. So everybody's different, and that's why sometimes I tell them, make up your mind. I don't mind showing you downtown Toronto condos, or if you want me to show you properties with big land. For me, at the end of the day, my job is to help you to make that decision. And even when we start looking for the house, when after, for example, they decided to go with one property, we go through a lot of details before basically waiving all the conditions.
I got it. So, if somebody interested to, I want to do 3 categories.
Yeah.
So number one, somebody want to buy a house, what to look for if they're first time home buyer, what to be ready with, how to come, what package to make, how to find you. Second, if somebody want to sell, what to prepare, what be ready, what to look for. And the third, what if I want to become a new investor?
Sure.
What to look in that? So in those 3 categories, can you just give me each 1 minute or half minute, blueprint, what to look for, secret, something that maybe other realtors didn't share, or they're new, or maybe just clients want to know?
Yeah, so and the first situation, when somebody's first time home buyer, the very first thing they should do, they should make sure financially they're okay, so they can get mortgage. And it depends how much they want to put down payment. Is it 10%, 15%, 20%? So the most important thing, Sona, they have to make sure they can get a mortgage, because that's very important. What happens in many situations, people, they don't know. For example, they will start looking for a property, for $800,000 or $900,000. So agents will start showing them all these properties. And then when they are ready to make a purchase and to send an offer, they will find out that they are, they can get only 600,000. Now that $200,000 or $300,000, it's completely different ball game. It's completely different category. So that now it's very hard for them to basically to start looking for properties that they are like in $500,000 to $600,000 range, because the properties they were looking for, they were like $800,000 to $900,000. So the first step buyers should do, they should meet with the bank, or maybe through their real estate agent. Usually we know a lot of mortgage agents, and we go through the situation, and then the mortgage agent will let us know how much they are eligible for, and based on that we will start looking. That's very first thing to do when it comes to for first time home buyers. And then the second thing, like I said, like I mentioned before, they should know which area to look for. It's very important. They need to know like which area they are moving to. Is it the area they landed there and they want to basically stay within that area, or maybe they want to move somewhere else because their older son or older daughter is going to university or college there. Even though, even that, there are not many things. Usually I sit with my clients, we ask all these questions before start looking for a property. When it comes to sell your property, did I answer your question first about
before we pass, I think that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I absolutely agree. And a couple things from my experience is even if you can be eligible, can you really afford it? Because putting all your money in the mortgage and being house poor without considering renovation, without considering property taxes, without considering electricity, heat, water, garbage, everything, and eating as well, and having life. It's not like our life's supposed to finish when we buy property. Our life's supposed to start. And if your house is not giving you at least the peace of mind, if it gives you anxiety and stress that you have to worry about,
I always tell my clients, I tell them you should not be working for the rest of your life to pay your mortgage, because like that, you don't want to buy a house and have another stress. And that's part of the questions that when I go through, I check their financial situation, I check their incomes, and I tell them, I'll tell them, if I was in your situation, this is what I would do. This is how much it will be. This is how much your mortgage payment will be. This is like how much your taxes will be, your bills, your internet bill, your everything. Based on that, they say yes, we should go to, for example, to 800,000 or 600,000 or $1 million. Again, every family income is different, and everybody's situation is different, and that should be basically the realtor's homework to do.
Or just find Ara, he will do that homework for you. Just find him. I agree with you, and I think first step is looking your free credit score with Equifax and seeing where you stand, and having reality check. Do you have some Rogers bill in a collection that you forgot about, or you didn't even know because it was like $1 charge for like 2 years and it's scrubbed your credit?
And you are absolutely right. It's very scary when it comes to the credit score, because it's not easy to build your credit score, but takes no time to reduce it. That's why it's very important to make sure, the safest thing to do, Sona, to do automatic payments to your credit cards or to anything. This way you're not going to miss any payments, and your credit, it's always above 700, 750. And when you apply for mortgage, the bank will look at your credit as a good credit, and you will be a good client to them. So, it's very important to maintain your credit score. And, in Canada or anywhere you go, credit is one of the most important thing when it comes to finance, like people's ability to finance or to lease or to purchase anything. So it's very important to maintain your credit score.
And right now with our banks, major banks and credit card, they do for free in your online account. So look for it, sign up for it. Another thing, you want to see ratio of your loans for your income, because if you have down payment.
And you don't lose a lot of points by checking your credit online. So
you don't lose any, I think.
So it's very important to check it and just to see where you are at, and again, maintain it.
Sorry, we went off topic, but one of my experience also was, even if I have 20% down payment, which I always go for 20% because I don't want to pay insurance with the government. But the thing with that is, even if you have prepared 20%, in the last moment, mortgage brokers may request you to pay some of your credit card or car loan or anything like that if you have too much loans, and your down payment may be reduced by that. So you want to really work hard for those things.
Exactly. And yeah, again, that, that's part of the financial statements to go through before making that, like the decision which
Oh, you mute yourself.
sorry, I muted myself by mistake. So basically, yeah, you're absolutely right. You want to basically be in a situation that all your credit is being paid off. But again, every situation is different. Sometimes banks, you are absolutely right. They will ask you to go and pay off all your debts before giving you the mortgage. So
Perfect.
yeah,
Next
that's when
question.
it comes to buyers. When it comes to sellers, do you have any other questions about the buyers, Sona?
There's so much to talk, so I just want to recap it, and
Yeah.
you go ahead. They just have to find you. That's fine.
Yeah.
Now about the sellers.
Yeah, sellers, they should a lot of time, like sometimes people think their properties, for example, worth 600,000, again, because they have old information. But when they meet with their realtor, and realtors, they usually, we go through their comparables, and we tell them, and we show them what's being sold in the area and why it's, like the prices and everything else. So the most important thing, they should know how much their property worth, plus, and they should know how to introduce their property to the market and to make it to be the bride of the wedding. So when you sell it, at least exactly, you are getting the maximum dollar for your property. So it's very important to basically make the house to look good, or if you have any small items that you need to fix before putting the property in the market. So that's why, sometimes it's worth spending, a couple $1,000s to get, more. Maybe a house, it's a beautiful house, but needs fresh paint, or, something, maybe couple $1,000s or few $1,000s, but you get a lot higher price than than if you keep the house as is.
I agree. Looking from making look like hotel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Decluttering, cleaning, maybe getting
Sometimes
staging.
it's worth to do for staging, and a lot of times there are, like, sometimes we use stagers. They will bring their furniture, their a lot of decoration, and that will make the house to look a lot better than if you leave it as is.
Yeah, we can be emotional. It can be our personal decoration or cultural decoration, because we want to make it attractive to every culture and every nation and every test. So having neutral colors and neutral and more modern looks and combinations, even renting out your furniture or getting big storage and just moving everything temporary there from 1 month to month.
Exactly. Yeah. So that, go ahead.
For selling, I noticed lots of people playing this game that no offers. We only accept offers this one day, and they're put at $1 or $2, and people fighting for it. And then you go, it's 300,000, but then there's another 300,000 renovation on it, and all this crazy stuff. Or you just for lending on building. What would you suggest for selling? What's the best success for selling?
Everybody, Sona, they think their house is the most beautiful house in the world, and the realtor's job is to sit with the sellers and show them all other properties, and basically, like, in the area, in the same category. So this way, usually what we are looking for, just to work together as a team, And sometimes when we tell our our clients that your property, for example, worth 700,000, and we should have answers for that, because I'm sure they will be asking why. I thought I will be getting 850. So the realtors should be ready to answer all these questions.
Mm-hmm. Definitely having right realtor is really important. Another thing I experienced till we get Ara back, for my own house, even though it was a lower price in the neighborhood next
Sorry,
door, my was
connection. Yeah.
that's okay. I was just mentioning, even though they have to be realistic, sometimes if I want to post a 30, 40,000 over asking from other neighbor houses, because my property was nicer decorated or nicely touched, I want to actually justify why I want to put it extra, because I just made that small room that for others is just a den, but for me, I made it bedroom.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely. Or maybe you have a side entrance, or maybe you have a finished basement that you can rent it out. All these things that, yeah,
small
you're
things.
absolutely right. They will add up to
Tangled
the
water
property.
tank,
Sorry?
new furnace,
Yeah,
new something that is investment
yeah.
and worth extra price.
And
And
everybody's different, Sona. Some people, they do prefer to list it below the market price or market value and hold offers. Some of them, they say no, let's list it whatever the price the house worth, and and get offers. So everybody's different. Some of them, they do prefer, like to list it, like I mentioned, maybe $100,000 below market price and hold offers. So, like again, you don't want to list your property or like over the market value, and then the property will stay in the market for 3 or 4 months without getting, an
doesn't
offer.
look good.
Yeah, so that's why it's very important for the realtor, to tell them how much the property worth and take it from there.
I agree. I totally agree. And appraisals in another side, if you put too high and then people get appraisal after buying and it's
Yeah.
very low and they don't have extra money and they lose the
Exactly,
sale.
you're absolutely right. And then they have to come up with a different, because if, for example, they bought it for 700,000 and bank will send an appraisal, and they will think the property worth, let's say, 650, purchasers, they will have to come up with that extra $50,000 above, like, for example, if they were putting 20%, now they have to put 20% plus $50,000.
And if they can't and they're just drop the offer, and now you don't have that person. I
Exactly.
mean, it's a fine line. It's like tango dance.
Yeah,
There's a lot
exactly.
to know. It's so important to have experienced
Yeah,
realtor to
yeah,
play that dance with you, to
yeah,
really show you that fine line, when to stop, which offer to take. Because
exactly.
sometimes you may take lower offer, but it's earlier moving date and you don't have to pay extra
Or
mortgage
maybe
and
it's
all
a
of that.
firm deal. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you want to get a firm deal, somebody you know for sure. You will not have any surprises the day of the closing. And so, and again, that's the realtor's job, is to go through the offers and try to sit with the sellers and tell them which offer will be the best one for them. So, again, that's, the realtor's job to explain and why he will be choosing an offer that's a few $1,000s less, because, for example, it's a firm deal. Yeah.
One thing I experienced, and this is the last thing, somebody was selling their house, and as a buyer, let's say,
Yeah.
I offer, they accepted, and everything is perfect, but then we can't close because seller has so much second, third, fourth mortgages. In time of selling, let's say 3 months before,
Yeah.
they were okay with the money they're getting to close everything, but they didn't realize closing date is 3 months prior after, and the interest rate is so much that now the selling price that they're getting is not enough to close all of those mortgages and
Yeah.
loans. And now we can't close the date because the
Because money
seller
is
can't
not
close
enough.
everything.
Yeah. 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 Well, that's, that's the lawyer. That's why we always ask 2 weeks for the title search. So basically, the lawyers will go through that and see if there are any again loans or anything against the property. So that's why if there is something like that, it will be highlighted 2 weeks before the closing date. So at least they will make a decision. It's either to go or basically to move on and get their deposit back.
So many little details. Just get best lawyer,
Yeah,
best realtor, best mortgage broker. So last question,
yeah,
and for investment,
yeah.
where should we buy a land in the front of lake? Should we buy a condo? What should we do as a first
Yeah,
time investor?
again, Sona, case by case, everybody's different. When it comes to lands, usually in Canada, you don't get usually you have to pay cash for it. If there is no property or a house in it, basically you have to pay cash. So when it comes to investment, it's very important to know how much money you will be spending and how much money you will be getting after a few years and what is the appreciation in that area. Sometimes, and that's I always tell my clients, you don't have to spend $200,000 extra to get $200 more for rent. So always to get something reasonable. So sometimes you may go somewhere a little bit further, but when it comes to rent, it's only $100 or $200 less you get for rent, but you don't have to spend 200 or $300,000 more. So that's why, and I always tell my clients, sometimes people when they make a decision to purchase an investment property, the way they are thinking, just like they're gonna move to that property. And I always tell them you should look at it as an investment property, not something. I know, for example, you live in a 3,000 square feet house. When you buy an investment property, it will not be a 3,000 square feet house. It may be 800 square feet condo, or maybe a 1,700 townhouse. So don't look at it as a property that you're gonna move in. We need to look at it how much money it will generate and how much appreciation will be in few years. This way, when you sell it, you will not be disappointed, and you will make money. That's why I have a lot of repeated clients that they made decisions many years ago, and now they are making good money. So it's good to go through all of that before choosing the property they will go with. And it's very important always to keep some cash and to have, like, for example, 5 or 6 months of mortgage payment in their account. So this way they will be, if anything happens, or it's easy to find tenants, but sometimes it's not easy to find quality tenants. That's why it's very important to know exactly how much they have and how much they will be spending, what are their closing fees before choosing the property they want to purchase.
Do you do international properties, buy and sell?
Like outside of Canada, yes. When it comes to Remax, the Remax is one of the largest real estate companies, and we have different like offices worldwide in Dubai, in Turkey, in Egypt, a lot of countries, and we deal with each other. But our licenses, for example, speaking about myself, we can work anywhere in Ontario, but sometimes we deal with the other realtors outside the country or outside the province. We can communicate with each other, and sometimes sometimes I get clients from overseas or from different provinces because they are with Remax, and usually we deal with each other.
It's very smart to in an area, like you said, you want an expert and you want somebody that specialize in the US or specialize in that area. So it's awesome that you guys collaborate and share. That shows that
and it's very
by
important.
ego.
Yeah, especially when you, like, for example, somebody will refer you to an agent that works in California or Miami. Like, it's very important to when you go to that agent through your agent with Remax in Canada, that agent will be trying his best or her best to help you as much as possible, because they know you've been referred to them. So it's important to, like, always ask your realtor if he or she knows somebody in that area that you want to move to.
So important, because you don't know who to trust internationally. So it's important to go through referrals. Now, quick question, because we're way over the time. We got a question on the chat, and I have a personal question too. What about commercial properties? Do you do commercial properties?
Yeah, commercial
property. Is that better investment?
Sorry?
Is that better investment?
Yeah, like, for example, when it comes to commercial, again, all depends. Like, is it part of, like, for example, is that their specialty? For example, like a barber wants to purchase or to opt to purchase a barber shop, or somebody who is good at the baking, they want to open a business for that. So, or they want to go with the franchise. Like, it all depends.
Or I want to just rent it out each for 5-10 grand and live happy life.
Yeah. Exactly. So everybody's different, and depends how much money you want to invest, or how much you want to, basically purchase the commercial, and like it. And there are a lot of things. Again, we need to go through it, like overhead, everything else before getting into commercial. But when it comes to residential, it's easy. Like, exactly, this is the type of house, for example, I'm looking for. This is my budget, and that's it. When it comes to commercial, it's, like, usually sometimes we get a month or two to go through all the financial statements and through all that, like, overhead and everything else.
Higher management.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything.
So that's why you always need a good realtor to help you for that.
So, question I got on the chat from Martin Sheet, who happens to be my brother-in-law. He's asking how come U.S. properties, now I kind of know the answer, but how come U.S. properties are cheaper, and is it comparable some or even better property types and locations?
Yeah, again, when it comes to real estate, location, we can't compare Michigan to New York. It's completely different ball game. Completely, you may get a property in Michigan for like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, but for a house, for example, in 8 Mile or somewhere in Michigan, like Detroit area, but in New York, like
Manhattan, it's crazy.
Like millions of dollars. So again, we can't just, like, for example, say in US properties cheaper than here, because, like, every area, it's a different value. They have different value, and every state it's different. So same as here. Like, for example, a house in Toronto, it's a lot more expensive than a house in Montreal. So, like our Ottawa, or, like for example, Vancouver, it's more expensive than Toronto. So again, like, for example, even in Ontario, you may buy a beautiful detached house in Windsor for $350,000 or $400,000. But in GTA, you may not be able even to get a condo for $500,000. So every location is different.
I agree. I mean, in Florida, when we're looking, what my answer would be to that is because of that, since 2008 and whatever, people lost the jobs and whatever going on, bubble that happened. Lots of houses went for cheap, and then in Florida, I think Canadians, when they're trying to buy, they really want to consider if they're not there, do they have a right management to look after, because of hot weather, you can't really close the windows, it gets mold. You need to have a right manager to look, and even
And
hiring
yes,
construction people.
you're right, and most like people Canadian that purchased in the California and all the Florida, it's more for luxury than for business. And a lot of people they own properties there because of the weather. A lot of people that, for example, they're retired, they just go there in a winter time and come back here in a summertime. So it's more for luxury than to purchase something there.
Yeah, we have to watch out, because mortgage rate for Canadians is a little bit higher, obviously, than US people. So you have to be ready to pay high interest rate, taxes, if it's income, if you're going to rent it out. You have to be prepared to hire locals there, because they have to have a working visa there. You can't just go with your crew or yourself. So there's lots of details. Should have referral from Ara and have a right realtor, but end of the day, it's a good opportunity too. Me and my sister stay there for 1 month in Florida in a bachelor, and amounts of money those people make from foreign people coming, but it's again seasonal, it's again location. It could be Florida, but very cold in the winter, and
yeah, of course, it's
coming in,
yeah, right. And
so many details.
if if you don't mind to share my my number, sorry, and my email address with any of your audiences, if they want to contact me, I'll be more than happy to.
Why don't you say it? Say it out loud.
More than happy to answer any questions they have, and again, if anybody is looking for to purchase the real estate or to sell, I'll be more than happy to help them. And it's always it's good to invest, and even sometimes people don't even know how much they are eligible for. Sometimes they feel they can't purchase, but when we go through their portfolio, they can purchase. And that's why it's very important to ask questions, and always, instead of paying rent $1,800 or $2,000, that can be their mortgage, and they will make money of that property later on.
Exactly, you're genius. And there's so many programs like lease to buy, or you can take a loan and put in your RSP and then take it out. And there is so many different programs that even if you don't have money, you can borrow money to buy your property if it makes sense. If you have lots of taxes that you're paying, you can write all those things. You should ask Ara. He's an expert. He's so generously invested his time. I'm going to post your website and phone number. I'm going to edit it and put it on it. And the last thing I want to close with, I really appreciate, I'm inspired. I learned a lot this conversation, and we're going to take this conversation offline because I have some more questions to ask. And this is the longest interview I've done, because I didn't realize how much I can talk about it.
Yeah, same thing with me when it comes to real estate. I know how to start, but I don't know how to end it. So I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. We'll all learn. It was perfect. And we have lots of audience that I'm sure they enjoyed and learned something.
Yes.
Last question. Let's finish it in a romantic note, I guess. When you have a time machine and you can go back to your younger self, when you was just starting to be entrepreneur, and it was scary, and it was unknown, it wasn't clear, and you probably want to quit every day and everything. If you can go back to that younger self, what would you tell to him? What do you wish you knew in that time?
There is a saying, and they say we are what we are today because of the choices we made yesterday. So always think about the future, and always always look for opportunities and set goals in life. And any goal, you can basically reach any goals that you may have, and never think it's hard to reach there. But like for me, if time goes back, I would be spending more time to be honest, with the family than now, because sometimes you drag into like the business, and basically you start working and working, and it's very important to treat yourself and have a time for the family, not only working as a machine. So time goes back, even though I have a beautiful family and everything, but I would definitely spend more time with them. So it's very important to have a balance in life, not just work, 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 but sometimes it's important to have like a good life with spend more time with your friends and relatives, and because you never know when people will say goodbye to you, and it's very important not to break anybody's heart, and just to be positive and never say anything negative, because at the end of the day we are all human and nobody's perfect. So like for me, Sona, the way I look at it, I strongly believe everybody of us is gifted, but you need to use that gift from God, and that will make you to be comfortable in life. And money, it's not everything, Sona. Sometimes sometimes there are many things more important than money. Yes, I do believe money is important, but it's not the most important thing in life. Like to have a comfortable life, and to have a beautiful family, and to have good friends and relatives, and to be at open mind with them, and it's much better than any money. Like they say, you can buy a house, but you can't buy a home. So it's very important to be happy in life, and to spend as much as time possible with your loved ones. And yeah, like if time goes back, I would definitely spend more time with people that we said goodbye to them.
It's so precious what you just said, and I absolutely agree. Sometimes we work like crazy to buy that house, to have that comfort and happiness, but then we continuously working to pay off the house to
Yeah,
maybe be happy, and then kids are gone, now we feel lonely, and now we have to sell the house to feel happy, so
exactly.
we're never happy. So
Yeah,
instead of waiting future to be happy, just be happy being with them.
yeah,
And because we forget why we're working and
yeah,
for who we're
exactly.
working and
Yeah,
what we
yeah,
want. Tomorrow is not promised, and we're not God to know the
exactly.
plan.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when it comes to kids, they grow up so fast, and sometimes, like they may get older, and they have, a big bank account, but that you don't know them that well. They don't know you that well. So, like it's very important to have a balance in life, like happiness, and to live comfortable.
Be happy, be love, be peace, because
Exactly.
that's your biggest wealth, and
Yeah,
the money will come. Do what you love, find the peace.
exactly. And
Thank
health,
you
it's
for
very
suggestion.
important to have a good health.
So,
Yeah,
so important. Count your blessings and
ex-
have gratitude. It always will multiply what you are thankful for.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Ara.
Thank
That
you
was
so much. Thank
absolutely
you for
pleasure.
having me tonight, Sona. I'm very happy and thrilled that like to have this good time with you, and hopefully, we'll meet again and again. Like I mentioned, if anybody has any questions, they are more than welcome to call me, and I'll try my best to help them as much as I can.
Exactly. Reach out to Ara Margos. He's in Facebook, aramargos.com. This is his Facebook on the screen. He
Thank
is
you.
awesome. He's patient, and I highly recommend it. Thank you for your time, Ara.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
God bless.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye, Ara. Thank you. Bye.